right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's final StarCraft tournament. It has been quite a day, Brennan Valdez.
Yeah, it's crazy that we got 3 tournaments in a row today. GSL, ASL, SSL, all of the SLs here in Korea. And you've casted every single one.
What's crazy is that I have cast them all. You know, if you had told 12-year-old me, one day you will cast every league in Korea, in StarCraft, in the same day, I would probably have not believed you. But today, that reality is a reality. But it's not just me that has to cast every single tournament or have to be involved in every tournament, because today we actually have TY facing off against Classic for the second time in the same day after he has already beaten him once and advanced on to the GSL round of 8.
And this time it's going to be a best of 5.
Yeah.
And all of those games went really long. They were all really fun to watch games. So you saw a bunch of nukes out of TY, some very late game play where you could see both players were really confident in their macro and late game skills. So they were just like, yeah, let's just go late game. You know, kind of a small gentleman's agreement, some early harass, but outside of that, very long games, very fun ones. Should be the marquee matchup of the night, I'd have to say. TY versus Classic. The first one we're going to have is herO versus Deer. I think this will be the most one-sided match of the second round here, as herO's on fire, and Deer's kind of fallen behind a little bit here.
Both players have a 50% chance of winning or losing.
It's true. You either win or you lose. So
it's true.
There's only 2 options.
Unfortunately, terrible math like that is what got me bad grades in college, Brendan. And in fact, there's a much larger chance for herO to win. You know, always a chance that Deer kind of pulls things together here right at the very end. Although I would say that's probably an outlier. Although we just, if you guys watched ASL earlier, Shine, an observer, a family, a father of 2, wound up beating one of the best players in the world in Brood War. But this is StarCraft 2.
That's pretty insane.
Anything can happen. So here's a summary of our rules and our breakdown for Stage 2 of the SSL challenge. It's 300 if you win, 200 if you lose, so $100 difference, and just a lot of money on the line, even just during the tournament before we've even concluded.
Yeah, and by this time next week, at the end of the cast, we will have our rankings for everybody. We will see who's in first and who gets directly promoted to SSL Premier. Second and third place will go into Fastlane Day 1, and then fourth place will go into Fastlane Day 2. And it's better to get as many days of Fastlane as possible, because if you lose on Day 1, you get another chance in Day 2. So that's why it's second and third place getting into Day 1 there as well. So extra money on the line, as you were talking about. And here you can see the current standings. herO currently the favorite to get out of SSL Challenge in first place, has not lost a single set, or a single match, I should say, here at SSL Challenge. Really on fire, as I was saying before.
Yeah, herO really outstanding in this tournament, and you know, GSL. It's also been kind of a pleasure to watch him play. Same thing for Beyond. He'll play tomorrow or next week in GSL, but get a chance to watch him every night in SSL. And here are our matchups for today: herO versus Deer, like you talked about. Classic versus TY for the second time today. Closing things out with Beyond versus Ryung, and if Beyond can do to Ryung what he did to TY last week, I think he'll be in a pretty good spot.
That was some really interesting music behind the background.
I don't know,
Alien invasion.
It's Morse code for save me. I don't know.
We just got to blink it out here on the
Well, I'm going to be blinking it out a lot. I'm going to take really long blinks. Yeah. So
the only thing we need to be saved from here are these gigantic lights that burn us every day.
Well,
but
those are the aliens coming to abduct us, man.
Yeah. It's always a lot of fun to cast here at SSL Challenge with it looks like we're casting in an elementary school. We got a bunch of books and airplanes flying around us.
My elementary school looked like our living room growing up, so I don't really know. We definitely didn't have Jin airplanes flying around behind me, that's for sure. So
yeah. Wait, so you were actually homeschooled?
Yeah, I was, man.
That's weird. I was homeschooled too. We're the homeschool casting duo. This is
God, get me out of here.
Very, very interesting. I didn't actually realize that was the case.
Yeah, man. Somehow I made it out alive. I got out. They kept pulling me back in, but I finally made it all the way to Seoul, Korea.
Escaped.
There's no way they could catch me now.
Yeah, we're far enough away. We're out here on our peninsula. Can only get here by a Jin Air airplane. See, the only planes that fly to Korea, obviously. But Yeah, this is going to be pretty laid back. I think as I was saying before, the second match for today is going to be the fun one. I think the first one is going to be like a bit of a stomp. herO's going to take Deer down into the basement and
I
do dirty things to him.
You say that, and I feel like that those kind of predictions have been very consistent in the SSL. But I was watching GSL earlier today and also casting it. But while I was watching it. It really surprised me. You had a player like Alive and Classic who were kind of the underdogs for their group because it also had TY and Innovation. And Classic 2-0'd his group, got out in first place, and Alive took it all the way to the final series, beating Innovation 2-0. And you don't say that sentence all that often, but underdog can definitely have their day because that's what every dog does. But here is herO. He is undefeated in the SSL challenge. He's been just really ahead of his class as far as his general play style, but also PvP. We've seen a style kind of emerge that Deer has kind of learned from guys like Classic. That's now totally different because of the new patch that we play on. So very new, interesting, fun things could definitely happen here.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm glad that you do mention that. Can't wait to see what the new PvP looks like, essentially, with these two really great players. Deer actually did win one match, so he's not out of it just yet. He still can get into 4th place, or probably even into 3rd place, as we do have 2 more days of games. If he finishes at 3-2, definitely going to be a pretty nice spot to potentially get into SSL Premier. You can see that even though he is 1-2, he's also 6-8 in terms of maps. So that's really close to being even. He's not doing a terrible job here in the 2nd stage.
Yeah, I mean, he does win games when he loses them, but he also loses when he wins. So the wins have not been very close. Or have been very close to losses, but he's managed to come out on top. Now, here's our map pool for our first best of 5 of the day. It's Overgrowth, Belshire Vestige, Abyssal Reef, Daybreak, and Newkirk Precinct.
Yeah, so kind of a different map pool here over at SSL when you compare it to GSL. Was liking some of those matches. Proxima Station was looking pretty cool for TY Classic.
Yeah, getting more of the ladder maps in there. Also have Odyssey, I think, but... yeah, kind of keeping it old school with the maps here. Some very old maps like Frost.
Overgrowth.
Yeah, Overgrowth. Oh, my God.
It's crazy that we're still playing on this map. Like, when did that come out? 2014? Or
next season we're going to add Metalopolis into it.
Yeah. Daybreak is in there still. Yeah. It's like...
The more things change, the more they stay the same, Brendan.
Maps have been around for longer than I've been casting StarCraft. It doesn't make any sense.
That is not untrue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're about to get it ready for our first best of 5 of the night. Get out there and tell your friends. It might be a little bit harder to find it on YouTube. It is e-sportstv.net/SSL_live.
You got that well memorized.
I do. I've tweeted it many times
e-sportstv.net/SSL live.
_live.
Oh, underscore. Don't forget the underscore.
Yeah, or if you just want to head over to Twitter, you can find that link easily accessible on both mine and Brendan's Twitter accounts. It's @RapidCasting and @BrendanValdez.
Yeah.
It is Valdez with a Z at the end.
S.
He's trying so hard. Yeah, it's Valdez with an S.
I've been called many things in my lifetime, Rapid. Brandon Vladez, another name that
always a classic.
Sometimes people like to call me. So here we go. We're about to jump into game number 1. Could be a pretty long day, but I think this will definitely be the most one-sided matchup, herO versus Deer. It's really the story of the undefeated guy versus Deer, who's the big underdog, but still has got a chance coming into this.
He certainly is still trying, and here we go. Fly Better Flying into our first game of our first best of 5 of the night. Our red Protoss player in the red chair, playing for OSC Root Gaming. It's herO.
And his opponent down on the bottom left, it is Deer, the blue Protoss.
Indeed it is. All right, Overgrowth is our map. Let's call it a classic map, because it is a little bit older. Love the player of the map. And we're going to see mirrored builds here, so wow. All right, a PvP. Did not get a chance to cast this today. It'll be cool to see how this works out. I feel like SSL, we've gotten to see quite a few PvPs. Really classic, kind of the god of that matchup. Has changed it quite a bit, but so has this new patch. In case you guys are unfamiliar with that, I think the biggest changes that will make sense in this match are going to be reduced Protoss charge costs. So if you're going to get that for your Zealots, it's going to cost you 100 less, 100 total. And then also the Tempest change, I think, is the biggest one for these big air toss kind of battles, with Tempest doing 52 damage a shot unupgraded versus massive units. So really a great way to pick carriers out of the sky if you do want to use them for that as well. So we've seen a lot of Protoss players sort of shy away from these big sky toss armies and move back towards ground-based Zealot forces.
I like the Zealot charge change. I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see what players can do with harassment specifically, because, you know, once Adepts came in and people realized how strong they were with the resonating glaives and how quickly they kill workers, you know, we never really got to see Zealot drops anymore, which is kind of what we always used to see back in the day. But I think it'll definitely come into play once again. If players do like to get that very cheap charge, you can warp in a bunch of very cheap Zealots, get them into the main, and even, I think they're going to be pretty strong also for stuff like running by into like a third base or into like a fourth base, one of your extremity bases, and doing a lot of damage there. So I think there's a lot of potential in the charge for sure.
Yeah, great to close the distance too. If you have Stalkers that are trying to micro backwards, just having Zealots charge on top of them, you're going to have a lot of damage there. So just keeping an eye on the builds here. We've got herO going for one base so far, and it looks like, or Deer going for one base. herO just now expanding to his natural there. Not sure exactly what Deer has in store. A Robo on the way. If he's one base in it, this will be a bit of an advantage. Could be too much. Nice scouting here with the Mothership Core. And after last week's series of TY versus Beyond, we all learned the most important lesson about StarCraft, and that is to scout for stuff. Scouting, a very good thing to do. Highly recommend it. If you don't do it,
that matchup was just like one big meme, man.
Double proxy racks with Tech Lab and concussive shell Marauder all in. That's what happens to you. It's hiding out there. That's the thing that goes bump in the night, the monster under your bed. So scout for it, find it out, and so herO did a good, or Deer rather, did a good job checking for that. And now
both these players actually really good job scouting the entire map. And looking at the builds, it was very mirrored. I think herO got the earlier Nexus, but Deer did a very similar build. He just got the Robo earlier and got those earlier observers, and now is a little bit later on the Twilight Council. Hasn't dropped that down yet.
Yeah, kind of confusingly slow there on the Nexus, and going into instantly an Observer. Also scouting, so he might have expected to see some sort of all-in early on. A lot of times players do all-in early in their best-of-5 series, because they can always work their way out of it later on.
It's a very safe build that we saw from Deer, and it's very interesting to see him play this safe. To me, it really speaks that he's kind of confident in this matchup, rather than trying to go for stuff like big all-ins or kind of cheesy builds. He's like, no, I'm just going to make sure I don't die to anything, because I think herO's going to be the one cheesing.
Yeah.
And as long as I play safe and get to the late game, then I am confident. But unfortunately, with the safe play and the greedier route that herO took, herO will get a slight lead in this game. Both these players going for Blink first, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I mean, Deer's is, herO's is going to be a little bit ahead of schedule, as has most of his build been for this game. Faster Nexus already up and running and underway, and really cool to see mirrored builds. A lot of times you'll have a deviance even as early as one player making 2 Stalkers versus the other's 2 Adepts. But yeah, both players going into Immortal Blink, coming up. Difference being the Forge for Deer, but should have close army counts, and indeed they are one apart, as herO looking to push out and at least take a watchtower, maybe push for more.
Takes that third base. Once again, he is ahead of Deer, who doesn't show any signs of wanting to take that base just yet. He's actually adding a Warp Prism and +1, so maybe he will look to drop that down a little bit sooner rather than later. He could put on some harass.
Yeah. herO not going for a Forge at all, so he won't have upgrades coming. The third base for herO, while it is faster, it is also vulnerable. It is very far away from his main. And so now this push from Deer could just be aimed right at that third. It'll be very difficult to hold. Both kind of ships passing each other in the night, but that will make Deer a little bit more cautious about pushing out.
Yeah. Does finally add that Nexus, but kind of interesting that he's pushing at this timing after starting +1. I think you are correct. He just does want to try to put on some pressure here with the added 2 gateways that he does have over herO. And really nice concave sitting over here. And look at those force fields. Whoa. All the Immortals and the Sentry on the right side. Just totally zoned out. Really nice attack here from Deer so far.
Warp Prism, though, comes in to save that trapped Immortal, and Deer will keep it alive. As he takes out all of these pylons, defending herO's third. Blink forward aggressively, gonna get back into the back line, trying to take out any of these Stalkers, but the micro's too good, and the Warp Prism micro as well saves a couple of those Immortals, allows them to stay alive longer. They will go down, and with another blink forward, it'll take out the Warp Prism, and herO will push Deer back.
What an interesting fight that was. I thought that was maximum overconfidence from herO blinking in there, but it was just a really smart play because he identified, hey, I have more Immortals and you don't have any more force field energy, so if I can just get on top of you, then I will win the fight. And win the fight he did. Kind of unfortunate for Deer that his +1 finished as he was retreating. And now that that attack is held off, herO in a really good spot. He looks to put on some pressure of his own at the third base of Deer. See what he can get done here. All 3 of his Immortals still alive.
Yeah, herO also has that proxy pylon at the 4th, so he will be able to warp in reinforcements. They blink forward there. Those force fields not actually placed all that well. herO looking to lose his Immortals. One of them very low and it will go down. Still has 1 more left, but he's got a superior Stalker count against Deer.
Blinking in on top of 4 Immortals. Don't think that's going to work out too well here for Deer, as he does fall about 20 supply behind. herO now totally cutting off Deer from his third base. Some more warp-ins are coming in.
Good blink control here from herO, saving individual Stalkers, putting them in the rear. And it looks like he's repositioned. He needs to grab the rest of his reinforcements at his proxy pylon and bring them over to Bear. But it looks like he will be able to take out this third base for Deer.
Yeah, really nice play here. Going to take that out and just back off. He's actually baiting Deer into another fight. Deer has to be really careful here.
He has an aggressive blink, and he will use it to get off a couple of extra shots. There's nothing there left at the third base, and for now, herO can actually just go home and deal with an extra Nexus. He's got a much better economy, but he also has a much better army at the same time.
Yeah. So much for the charge changes. All you've been seeing in this game has just been blink Immortal.
Yeah.
Just pretty straight up, kind of what we're always used to seeing here.
So herO is wisely going into a little bit of additional defense. He's put up cannon at both of his early bases. But wow, actually walking across the map and denying another third base expansion. herO really just kind of crossing his T's, dotting his I's and his J's.
And
maybe even his U's if he's German.
Whoa. I guess you could dot a bunch of other things too. Like O's. O's can be dotted.
In what, in the middle?
No. What?
How do you
in the middle of the O?
Oh, you mean like the
I mean
German
on top.
Letters. Okay, yeah. Too bad we don't have Wolf here. He actually...
Schroeder.
Yeah.
Wolf Schroeder. Yeah, that's him.
All right.
Definitely offended some Germans out there. Anyway, it's okay. Gonna be blinking on in, and GG. herO will take the first game in pretty easy fashion. I liked the attack from Deer. I thought his force fields were really fantastic, but kind of the anti-timing, as Artosis would say. Fighting before +1 was done. Yeah. And he was kind of behind in everything the entire game. I feel like herO just kind of took more risks, and then Deer tried to play aggressive after playing extremely safe, which generally doesn't really work with the timing because herO was going to be ahead based on how much more greedy he was playing. So didn't work out. This is kind of what I was expecting in this series. herO able to stomp Deer in game number 1. See if he can keep that up.
Yeah, it felt like their builds were very similar, very close for the majority of the game, but as soon as herO withstood and even kind of punished Deer for his early aggression, he was able to push it all the way across the map and really never let up that pressure. And that's going to take us into game number 2, our first best of 5 of the night. Deer down. 1 game to start.
Yeah. See what does happen here. going into our next matchup. I believe this is Abyssal Reef. And oh boy, that classic jam out session.
I love it. It's my favorite part. We just got jam out music for GSL 2.
Oh, not Abyssal Reef. Belcher Vestige.
It is in fact a vestige, not a reef. I guess that's kind of close, but not necessarily. No. I tried. All right.
It's okay.
All right. Our Protoss player herO is the first person to be introduced tonight. In the red, of course. In the blue, his opponent. This is going to be Deer.
Deer.
Go deer. Female deer. Well, this is a male deer actually. So.
Yeah.
What do you call those? Bucks?
I don't know.
Isn't a buck a male deer?
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure it is.
And they have antlers?
Yeah, because they have duck hunt and buck hunt.
What?
Yeah.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Buck hunt?
Yeah, it's very popular. It's like an arcade game where you have like the bright orange shotgun and you try to shoot the, I don't know.
Yeah. I know about duck hunts, but not about buck hunt.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, Big Bucks 2004 or whatever it was. I don't know. They put them in like, I don't know, random, I don't know, bowling alleys and stuff. Maybe it was just a Texas thing.
You're just reminding me of this game that came with Windows 98, I think. It was like Deer Hunter, and it just never worked. I tried to install it many times, and
isn't there one
being
where
the
you
young,
like...
budding 9-year-old, or no, I guess I was 7 when Windows 98 came out, but I really wanted to play the shooting game. You know, I thought it would be really fun, but it never worked, so I was kind of disappointing.
There's one where you play a deer and you hunt hunters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I've seen that before.
These are like these old school Target games that you see on the shelf that nobody ever actually buys.
Yeah.
It's almost exclusively bought by parents who want to get their kid a video game. It's like, oh, this looks like a fun game for my child. And that's how I wound up with like a Sylvester and Tweety Game Boy game when I was growing up.
Whoa.
So my mom went to the store and was like, all right, it's Christmas, gotta get my kids a present. I'm like, Mom, this game sucks.
This game sucks. Why didn't you get me StarCraft?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That was kind of my issue too. Oh, hold the phone.
Yes, the phone. As they say, Brendan.
Hold it up. Show us the phone. This is a robotics facility being proxied. It's not even really that close. It's all the way over there on the left side. I wonder what that's going to be for. He's adding another gate, so I think this might just be a one-base Immortal push.
Yeah, and here come a couple of adepts. Their mission is twofold, both to harass and, uh-oh, no Nexus.
Interesting.
Suspicious, Brendan.
And
suspicious indeed.
The Oracle, it can get a lot of damage done in the base of Deer, of course, but not going to be the best at defending against a bunch of Stalkers if Deer just decide to go into that as his unit of choice. We do see the continuous scouts here by herO. He's like, okay, when are you going to make that Nexus? Where's the Nexus?
Yeah, and that's a really cool thing about Adepts. Even with the vision change that doesn't give them quite as much scouting potential, they'll still be able to see if there's a Nexus there. And knowing that there continues to be none on the way, this is going to reveal a lot of pressure from Deer. So herO should back up and start to reinforce things, because he is about to face off against proxy Immortals with a Warp Prism now on the way.
This is actually so cool by herO. He's playing this really, really well. Continuous scouting. He even sent out another probe to go scout that. Look at this. The Stasis Ward is going to delay this push. herO now adding another gateway to match Deer's gateways. Now, this push isn't over just yet. Deer still does have a chance. Those Immortals are going to be very, very nice against herO's army, and it looks like herO might even sack the natural here.
Yeah, he sends the probe in to tank hits from the overcharged pylon before he comes in and takes it out. And I think the decision here by herO is really just to sack that natural and go in for double Oracle harassment across the map.
Yeah, I really like this play. I mean, he knows that he should be ahead on probes. Unfortunately, has lost a bunch of these pylons in the Nexus, so going to be red in supply. But, ooh, look at that! The force field into the hot pickup there by Deer. Now coming over here is herO with this double Oracle harass. Not getting too much damage done just yet, just for probes.
I thought he was actually going to focus these warping in stalkers because it's a good way to take them out before they can really even do damage. Instead, he's going to be pushed back. Those 2 stalkers warped in behind is really going to, I mean, it's 2 stalkers that aren't at the front of herO's base. So just essentially killing those 2 stalkers because they can't fight right now. Their way back there, herO actually warped in Zealots to tank this damage and run forward. Lifting things up with the Phoenix. The double Oracles coming in from behind, trying to focus down these stalkers, but they're getting picked off.
I think Deer might have done this. He takes out the Mothership Core, didn't have enough energy for another overcharge, and no more energy on the sentries either. Gonna push on in, and it looks like this 3 gateway robo play from Deer will do the trick. GG. Deer takes his first map here, tying it up.
Indeed it is. Wow. Yeah, evening up the series. Even in his series versus Classic, one of the best PvP players that we have in SSL. They're all running together. I don't know.
Too many Star Leagues.
Yeah. Well, we actually have like a great number of Star Leagues because there's StarCraft on like almost every day. Just when you have them all on one day, it's like
yeah.
All right. Yeah, interesting. Even when he played against Classic, he was a very good PvP player. He was able to make it a very close series and take it all the way. So I don't doubt that he has the potential to do that. It's just about winning in the end, because that is, in fact, what matters. So it's tied up at 1-1 coming into our 3rd map, Brendan.
You can see herO's smirk after he lost that that game. He knew that he had been bamboozled for sure, and he's gonna go in and perhaps play a little bit safer this time. Deer's build heavily punishing the Stargate play from herO, and here we go. Finally, we are on Abyssal Reef.
The fly our way under the sea and into a matchup between this guy, it's herO, in the red,
and his opponent, the blue Protoss. It is Deer in the blue chair.
As Total Biscuit says, in the blue trunks. Like, well, how can you see their trunks? You don't know what they're wearing. Well, it's a metaphor. That's how. Yeah, so good job. It was a rush. It was an all-in, and I feel like it was very well executed. It did its job, but you never see players who win championships because of cheese. You don't like cheese every game and then go win a championship. No, you do it very careful, calculated opportunities, and sometimes it's even more effective because you don't do it often.
Yeah, it's cool to mix in, especially in longer series like a best of 5, especially because you could see in game 1, herO was just taking the slightly greedier path than Deer, and then game 2, Deer actually goes with a pretty hard cheese, and that's definitely going to make herO rethink his builds and have to play a little bit safer, so you can kind of, force your opponent to play a bit safer by mixing in a cheese at times, I feel like players like Rain people always used to say, like, oh, his play is so nice to watch, he's really safe, he always macros, but I feel like it was definitely a bit of an issue, too, because he just never cheesed, and that allowed players to get really, really greedy against him.
It's like when you go over to your friend's house, but you're lactose intolerant, you gotta watch out in case they mix in any cheese in those dishes, but the only thing that's been dished out tonight is Heartless Protoss Death.
2 Zealots. Immediately canceled, and he makes actually a Nexus without making anything. Both of these players doing the same build.
What is up with that?
I was talking about perhaps herO is going to play a little bit safer, but he's actually playing more greedy.
It's like, wait, no, give me those minerals back. Instant Nexus. All right, oh, okay. I mean, you can cancel units all day. I don't think that's ideally what you want to do. Having those extra minerals is pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like herO really reading Deer here and saying, okay, you think I'm going to play safe after you cheesed me, but actually I'm going to play even greedier. And unfortunately here for herO, that probe is going to sneak by. Really good pathing by Deer. Comes in, scouts the Nexus timing.
Now, this time it's Deer going for Stargate, a build he really punished herO for in game number 2. On the other side, though, at least we'll see expansions. It's not going to be anything crazy in one base like our last game. And for Abyssal Reef, I think you pointed this out last week. It's a great place to defend if you're just going to stay on 2-base, because there are very few good avenues for pressure aside from running into the main and dropping. But we'll see if we actually make it to third bases so far. I would imagine that these games are all going to be very sort of short and close and scrappy, but always the potential that we do get a little bit longer, especially on maps like Abyssal Reef.
Yeah. We do that robotics facility first here from herO, and he is going to make that warp prism, so we might see him being the first to pressure with ground units, whereas Deer looking to poke the front with some adepts. Just wants to get a scout, I would imagine.
Yeah, adepts being used for scouting. What a concept. Nope, he's gonna go in and get some drop kills.
A very SOS-y play, if you will. Just coming in, sacrificing a bunch of adepts to only get 3 probes, not the best. I would have liked if he did that at the same time as flying in the Oracle, but as I say that, there's no defense in the main. This Oracle's going to get so much damage here. Uh-oh.
Okay, there is finally an overcharge, but yikes.
6 kills. He's still killing stuff. Oh, boy.
10 probes. Okay, finally loses that Oracle. If he had kept that Oracle alive, that might have just been game over, but 10 probes is almost just that. Anyway, a 14 worker advantage for Deer.
It's pretty massive at this point in the game. As you were saying, keeping the Oracle alive is always really important, but you can't always get everything you want.
But if you try some time, you just might find that you get what you need, Brendan.
Yeah, definitely needed those probe kills. And you can see herO here trying to even up the score with some harass of his own, but not quite as effective.
Yeah, this is very telling about the players too, because you have a Deer that was willing to get in and sacrifice his adepts, but herO not willing. No, he has to get as much value as possible just by saving them with those warp prism, bringing them back. He also has Phoenix here, so he'll win any air versus air battle because he just has more air units.
Look at this play. He's actually setting up his shades to get them to safety, but not quite going to work out. And actually the Phoenix is hunting down the warp prism now. Oh, he's trying to bait him into his own Phoenixes, and herO will get the lock on here and take out Deer's Phoenix.
It's always really rough when you have a blue player that's going Phoenix, because that's kind of the same color as hallucinated Phoenix. So it's like, okay, well, why is he trapping a hallucinated Phoenix? Like, oh no, it's actually a real one. And after casting 2 leagues of StarCraft today, and a best of 5 Brood War, and then more StarCraft 2, I'm like, okay, well, anything looks hallucinated at this point, even if it's not a Phoenix.
Your life is just a hallucination now, Reed.
That's very true.
You cast enough StarCraft. And yeah, herO's going to have the lead here in these Phoenixes. You can see that Deer immediately switches out, goes Blink, adds a bunch of gateways, trying to get that ground army up and running with all of the Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, and herO continuing the pressure. He's gone into this mass Phoenix. He's stopping Phoenix production now as he works on a third base that is just about to come out. And it's actually kind of interesting that he will be behind on his third base compared to Deer, because he was faster on it in our previous game, or previous first game. Yeah. Second game, he did not get to a third Nexus. Nope.
Yeah. Not quite.
Yeah, and you want to go Immortals behind us. Pretty common, because you do need a ground follow-up in case they just run across the map and try to kill you. Having a 5 Phoenix in the air will not do quite so well against twice as many Stalkers on the ground.
Yeah, essentially just becoming harassment units. And you can see herO going to add his Robotics Bay now, and looks like he will be going into Blink with Disruptors on the way.
Yep. One of these days I'm going to get to cast all 3 players named herO.
Yeah, someday.
Let's see, I don't know if actually the ex-Liquid herO plays in offline tournaments anymore. I've not seen him.
I think he does. Maybe he just hasn't qualified for much recently. Not 100% sure. We got a little attack coming over here, and as I say little, I see the rest of the army. That's actually a pretty massive attack. Lots of Stalkers here from Deer.
I mean, Deer definitely has the bigger army. He won't have the defender's advantage, and he will be blocked off by a bunch of force fields. Almost killing that Mothership core, though, is very, very close. And for herO, it's going to have to be a very close defense as well.
look at this play from Deer. He's actually really punishing herO for the tech paths that he is going. And just cutting back on the probes now and trying to make as many units as possible. The Time Warp is going to come down and the lift on that one Immortal into the sky, but Deer just has so many Stalkers at this point.
Kind of interesting to see that Time Warp. That's more of a, well, you can't retreat now, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe he doesn't actually want to retreat. I don't know.
You just blink out of the Time Warp. Yeah. It's like, okay.
I mean, this Immortal will really change the tides in herO's favor, even picking up an additional Stalker thanks to lifting it up with those Phoenix. And so herO hangs on, but he did lose quite a few workers. However, that does just put him at even in the worker supply count. So I'm not sure if that meant that Deer cut a few probes there to go for these aggressive builds, but pushing in now again to snipe that Immortal.
Really good trade there. I think you've traded only one, maybe two Stalkers for that Immortal. And if you can consistently keep that Immortal count low of herO, you're going to be in a really good spot. Just procking the barrier there, backing off, going to wait, warps in more and more Stalkers. You can see the unit tab up in the top left. 25 Stalkers is the army here for Deer. There's the big Blinken once again, going to snipe that Immortal. And this might just be it. Deer trying to swing the hammer, but here comes that Disruptor.
Whoa, my gosh. Perfect, very scary blink away, and that Disruptor's going to be very expensive and very useless until it comes out with another Purification Nova. More probes pulled off the line. They will die. Pulling Deer's Stalkers forwards, but wisely Deer saving that blink to avoid any incoming Disruptor shots.
Finally, he breaks the back of herO, and at the same time, herO has been able to get a lot of harassment damage done over here. Only 3 probes have gone down. Oh, that Disruptor, super, super close. Deer really on point today with his blinks, trying to move on in once again. There's a huge blink on top of that Immortal. Will snipe the Disruptor as well.
Yeah, and he'll pick out every single unit made out of that Robo Bay, and it doesn't look like things are looking too good. In fact, it does not look too good here for herO. He continues to push Deer back, but it gets more and more people each time.
Yeah, and you can see the economy now of herO also really beginning to take a hit. Only 33 probes currently. And Deer, just with the better economy, the extra base is going to warp in more stuff. And that, as they say, is GG. Deer takes the lead in the series. And I think he heard my trash talk, Rapid, because he is really bringing it to herO today.
Yeah, and you know, this is really cool to see. Deer now up in a series against the favorite of the entire tournament. herO has not dropped a set so far. So, I mean, against Deer, maybe this is the one that he winds up doing him in.
Yeah, and I think it does say something about herO's PvP too. You can see it feels like Deer has kind of just figured out herO so far. And herO's not out of this yet. Definitely the favorite coming into this one, as we were saying. He could definitely win 2 in a row, but Deer is just going for these really big pushes with a bunch of Stalkers and saying, we're not going late game. I'm not letting you get there, and I'm going to punish you for your greed. So if you want to do some really cool harass, some fancy harass with your Phoenixes, I don't really care. I'm just going to go kill you.
Well, I did in game number 2 and 3, and so now it's up to herO to win his next game because, I mean, Deer one away from taking this series and picking up his second win in the SSL challenge. For herO, it would be a strong win, but he would still have one more beyond that if he were to take this series. And into that series we go. It's game number 4. Fly, better fly.
So relaxing.
Gets me every time.
I better fly.
All right, our red Protoss player is herO. His opponent in the blue is Deer, coming out with a couple of very fancy wins, going for that high-powered, early, dedicated aggression, and making it work out. So here we go. We've got herO versus Deer, and gonna have to look for the big build that sets these guys apart early.
Yes. Some big builds out of Deer.
Love my big
doing
builds.
some
Don't like
some
those small
bigly
builds.
work here.
Get those big builds in here. Only big builds allowed. Man.
Only the best builds.
The best
Deer
big
have.
builds.
He knows a lot of great Protoss players. They're really good people. Teach him the best builds. He's going to win this one bigly, Rapid. I'm really looking forward to it.
Bigly. It will be the most incredibliest victory.
Yes. That would be very turbulent of him. I was liking your vocabulary lessons you were given at the TSL.
All I'm trying to say is new words are good. It's good to learn them. Not everybody thought so, but here's the sad truth. One person gets to make the decision about this thing. It's me. So there you go. All right, scouting probe here for Deer, just to check out and see what is coming his way. And this time it will be Deer's chance to learn that, in fact, herO has no Nexus.
Yeah, mirror build so far. You can see that herO just being a little bit safer, putting those gateways up at the front. It's funny to see how players react when they're on the ropes. Some players in this kind of position would say, hey, Daybreak is a pretty good map to hide some cheese on, to hide some proxies. Why don't I proxy a Stargate down there because I'm on the ropes, and if I can take one game quick, I'll have the momentum going into the final game. But you could see herO kind of showing some confidence, saying, okay, I am down, but in order to win this one, I just got to play it safe. I got to play the late game, and I should be able to beat my opponents there. But we will have to see.
Looks like herO does want to put one down. Is positioning up there, maybe sending that probe down right now for a Nexus. And it does look like that is indeed its purpose. So we should see both players expand here, neither one with an advantage or anything, but it's going to be about vision. And right on time, both Nexi will be scouted. Actually, Deer's probe gets in there, or herO's probe gets in there and delays Deer's Nexus.
Just a bit. And then he gets escorted out by the guards, by the bouncer adepts here, wearing their capes. Yeah. Not sure what kind of clubs herO is going to, but some more scouting.
Capes, apparently.
Yeah. Ooh, nice block there. No scouting for Deer.
It does cost a couple of minerals, but totally worth it to deny that scout. Now Adepts walking into Stalkers. It looks like these Stalkers will be able to pick off one before that Shade is able to complete.
We have a couple more Adepts over here trying to get that scout down. You can see really good timing on the pylon once again.
Yep. Builds it, cancels it. Only costs 25 minerals. All your tech safe and sound.
I definitely buy that kind of safety, that kind of defense. We'll see. Oh, once again.
Wow.
Deer can just keep on doing this.
Yeah.
He is costing herO a bunch of money.
I mean, eventually, yeah, and here we go. herO going to have enough. Say enough is enough. Go forward and pick off yet another Adept. Yeah. Adept.
Oh, the sentry, run away.
Ooh, oh my god, he actually got blocked running up, and he will wind up getting taken out. That actually means that these probes are going to go down here, and Deer's going to be in, or herO rather, going to be in a lot of trouble.
That's now 100 minerals that he's cost herO in pylons, but also 3 probes and a bunch of lost mining time at the natural, so definitely very worth it here for Deer. Thankfully for herO, he did get that hallucination off with the sentry before it died, so he does see the warp prism pop out. Will be ready for this.
We'll know what's coming. It is going to be a 2 base versus 2. I was a little bit worried because we did see a slower expand there by herO, but wound up throwing it down. Eventually.
He threw that Nexus on the ground.
I also think I said it was Deer that had the, or herO that had the slower Nexus, but it was actually Deer. Oh well.
It's okay.
Today is just ridiculous, Brendan. And maybe I could handle, casting, 3 tournaments in a day, but they were all so epic and went so long. It was almost the longest day of StarCraft ever.
It was too epic for you, Rabbit.
I mean, we'll see. We've got 2 more best of 5s after this one, so even if Deer does win, there's still a lot more StarCraft on the way.
Yeah. And speaking of stuff that is on the way, we do have that Dark Shrine about to finish, as it was on the way for quite some time. The timing here on that Warp Prism is really nice. You can see he's trying to beat these units out of the main.
Interesting that herO would choose this chance as his last opportunity for aggression. If he does get taken out, then that's it.
Look at the timing there, and the build from Deer. He actually went for 2 Immortals first and no safety observer.
Oh, so terrible. The Dark Templar will actually get force fielded there just a little bit, stopped from getting into the mineral line, but there's still a ton of probes right there. Oh
the pylon.
No! He unpowered it. He can't actually build an observer. There's only one. that did manage to get produced. Oh my God, if he had not been able to make that observer, then I think that would have been just an instant GG right there.
Yeah. Definitely would have been. The timing on that was pretty clutch for Deer. We have some Immortal harass over here. Deer trying to even the score. And one Zealot is not going to be enough to stop that. We do have the DT going into the natural now, forcing another big pull on all of these probes. And herO will save it, drops it into the main.
How do you continue to go in there and get that Dark Templar harass? It's like, it's not a mystery. It's like, okay, well, I have a Dark Templar. I'm moving in between your bases and continuing to get probe kills. But, I mean, on the other end as well, Deer successful in taking out quite a few of herO's probes, not only earlier on, but now as well. And indeed, that is going to make the difference. The 2-probe advantage. But it's for herO, actually.
Look at what we have now. I mean, Deer, he's trying to power up a bunch more gateways, 4 on the way, and he wants to go into a big adept composition, it seems, following up what he already does have. And we can see that herO is going into disruptors this time, but the timing is much better for herO now because he will have time to get at least 2 disruptors out, I believe. Whereas in the last game, Deer actually hit a perfect timing right before the disruptors could get out in a big enough number, forced Deer to make a bunch of Immortals, and it still didn't keep him alive.
Yeah, and disruptors are such a good unit. You can use them perfectly defensively, offensively. They really are just so versatile. Big fan. Didn't know exactly what to think about the disruptor, but turns out good.
Yeah, here we go. The attack will commence shortly. Resonating Glaives is about to finish, and he wants to hit this 3rd base. 2 disruptors are out, going to join this army.
Continuing to push forward. There go the Guardian Shields. They are going to come up. Disruptor Blast missing everything. Ooh. A beautiful split by Deer.
Yeah, really fantastic micro by him, and a big shade into the natural. The 2nd disruptor coming on over here, but no Disruptor Ball does come out. Now the blink on top of the Immortals. I'm not sure how that's going to go. Getting on top of the disruptors over here. Decent shot by herO, but will it be enough? He's definitely going to lose his 3rd base. Deer, it looks like he's done it again.
Oh, this is amazing. Deer just might have done it. He could take out herO and give him his first loss in this SSL Challenge Stage 2.
Well, I guess I gotta eat my own hat, Rapid, because Deer definitely proved me wrong tonight, as he hit some really fantastic timings, and I really just feel like he was very well prepared for this. He read herO like a book after game number 1. And
good book, too. He just couldn't put him down. But now, ironically, he is going to put him down. And there it is. A GG will give Deer a 3-1 victory over herO. Today is just the day of the sickest, most insane upset. Classic, advancing out of the round of 16 earlier. In GSL, in ASL, we had Shine, an observer and father of 2, taking out Bisu, one of the greatest pro gamers of all time. And tonight, we have Deer with a 3-1 victory over herO, an undefeated player in SSL.
Yeah, it's a huge match for him to win because, first of all, herO, again, he was undefeated in matches up until today, and Deer is the one to take him out. Not Bun, not Classic, not any of these other big names, not TY. It was actually Deer that takes him out in the match, and also this keeps Deer's hopes alive because no one else here in the second match, or rather the second round, has beaten herO. But Deer was able to take that win, so now 2-2. And if he wins his next match, I think he definitely makes it into at least the fast lane.
Well, the fast lane is going to be pretty fast approaching. But I think you definitely do want to get the first place spot in SSL Challenge that qualifies you directly to promote to Premier, which is where everybody wants to go. Where we want to go is going to be a commercial break. So stick around, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with our next Best of 5.
Things turn, send a prayer to the ones up above.